What's good YouTube, it's your boy MVT and welcome back to the What MVT Thinks channel, where we talk about everything movie and TV shows related. So today we're back with part 2 of why Ghost is still alive in Power. Now if you guys didn't watch my part 1, I would highly suggest that you guys go over and watch that before you guys watch this one, as it's almost a continuation from that video. So definitely check that one out. I'll leave an annotation on screen so it makes it easier for you guys. But just to recap, let's speak about some of the points that we made in that video. So some of the points that we made were that nobody was shown, his casket was closed at his funeral, his body was never ID'd, they never had a RIP Ghost post on Instagram or YouTube. Courtney Kemp actually came out, and when she was asked if Ghost was alive, she said that in the world of Power anything can happen. We already know that Ghost is smart and that he was a wanted man, everyone wanted him dead, so it was easy for him to outsmart people. We also spoke about Tommy's ambulance business and the possibility that Ghost might have got an ambulance to take him away straight after he was shot. We spoke about the points of view, Tariq's point of view, Tommy's point of view, and the blood being on the floor and when the blood wasn't on the floor. And we also spoke about Ramona briefly and that Tommy left with an envelope from Ghost that no one actually saw. So we actually covered quite a lot in part 1. As I said, that video was about 15 minutes long. This video is not going to be that long. I have about 5 or 6 extra points which we're going to be speaking about. I will go into some depth about some of those points as well, so hopefully you guys do enjoy the video. Sit back, relax, and let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. But without further ado, let's get into part 2 of why Ghost is still alive in Power. So the first point which I want to speak about is that his casket actually moved when it was getting carried to the gravesite. Now I'm not sure if a lot of you have noticed this, but when his body was actually getting carried to the gravesite, it actually wobbled and it moved. Now a lot of people are saying that obviously a body is not inside for recording and production purposes, which would obviously make sense, but at the same time, if they are carrying a body and they are filming, they don't want the casket to be flying around their place and making people ask these questions in the first place. Therefore they would, weigh that casket to the actual weight of a person so that it wouldn't be flimsy and flying around. When the casket moved in that episode, personally to me, that was a huge sign that obviously no one was in there, and they want to show us that no one is in the casket. Otherwise, 1, the casket would have been open like we spoke about in part 1, and 2, we would have seen Ghost's dead body already. So I believe that the moving casket is definitely a big clue, but let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Moving on to point 2. Now point number 2 is going to be the fact that his tombstone don't actually have a date on it. So as you guys know, when you die and you have a tombstone, your tombstone says your name. It might say something nice about you, it might have a few images of angels and stuff, but at the bottom of your tombstone or somewhere on your tombstone, you will have your birthday and then your death date. So it will say, I don't know, 1991 to 2015 if that's when you passed away. Now Ghost did not have a date on his tombstone. All he had was his name and a quote. He did not have a date, which leads me to believe, why wouldn't there be a date on his tombstone? If we knew that he was dead at that specific day or that month, then why isn't there a date on the tombstone? If we go back to Raina's funeral, she had a date on her tombstone. So again, why is there no date on Ghost's tombstone? This just leads into the theory that he definitely is alive. There's way too many clues for him to be dead. I promise you guys, this guy is definitely 100% alive. So the next point would be the fact that when he was actually shot in episode 10 of season 6, since that point onwards, from episode 10 to episode 15 I believe it is, they title the episodes, well they don't title the episodes, but they title everything around the episodes Who Shot Ghost. Now this is a very big clue, and I didn't actually cover this in part 1 because I didn't think it was one of the main things to cover, but this is a very big clue guys. Why was it Who Shot Ghost and not Who Killed Ghost? If it was Who Killed Ghost, then case closed. But it's Who Shot Ghost, and it was Who Shot Ghost for 5 straight episodes, and then after that we don't see a body, we don't get no evidence, we just get Ghost is dead. Personally to me, the fact that they said Who Shot Ghost rather than Who Killed Ghost is a very big clue, but again that could have just been playing to the fact of they want the viewers to go up and stuff like that. So I wouldn't say it's a major point, but I definitely say something to think about. Why is it Who Shot Ghost and not Who Killed Ghost? Now the next point which I want to speak about is a very big clue, and it's been a big clue since the start of Power. This man's name in this show is Ghost. If that's not a big enough clue, then I don't know what is, honestly. Let's just be honest for a moment. His name is Ghost. So what does that mean? What do ghosts do? Ghosts disappear and then they come back. Now, if they didn't make him disappear at any point of this show and come back like how a ghost would actually do, then I don't believe that he would have actually earned his name. I mean, you could argue the fact that yes, he earned his name because in the drug business, not a lot of people knew who he was, obviously in New York and stuff like that, and people didn't know that Ghost was James St. Patrick, so he was living that double life and he was being a ghost. You could argue that he obviously lived up to his name throughout the whole season, but me personally, the fact of you faking your death and then coming back and surprising everyone and outsmarting everyone, that is the real Ghost. And I believe that that is what they're trying to do here, trying to make him play into his name and also just leaving the opportunity open just in case ratings fall and the show, you know, goes into a bad turn. They can also look for that little card. Let's bring back Ghost and boost the ratings of the show. It will definitely boost the ratings of the show. There's been millions of people that probably don't watch Power anymore just simply because Ghost isn't in it. So boosting the show, if it goes into the wrong direction, would definitely be something that they would love to do. Now, you guys might not think that that's the best clue or theory to go into why he has faked his death, but I definitely believe that with everything that we've seen and just his name being Ghost and how we've seen him on screen and how we've seen him outsmart people constantly throughout 6 whole seasons of Power, I believe that he will live up to the name of Ghost, and there's a lot more to this story than we can actually see with our own eyes. Moving on to the next point. Now, this is a really important point, and I don't think a lot of people have actually thought about this. Obviously, we all saw it happen if you guys did watch the whole of book 2, but I don't think people actually realized how big of a clue that this actually is. So in the last episode of Power Book 2 Ghost, we see Tommy come back, and what do we see? We see Tommy fake his death. This is huge. What this is showing us, guys, is that the writers at Power have no problem faking someone's death. There's so many people that probably thought at that point when we saw the car blow up, there's so many people that probably thought that Tommy Egan was actually dead. There's a lot of us that obviously knew that, you know, he's too much of a star. He's got book 4 coming out. He's 100% not going to be dead. There's a lot of people out there that did believe for that 10-15 minutes before they actually showed him call Tariq and actually have that discussion. There's a lot of people out there that believe Tommy Egan were actually dead. And if you think about it, I personally don't blame them, because what we actually saw on screen did make it look like he had died. His car blew up and it looked like he was in a burst of flames. But that is what Power's doing, and that's what Power's showing us. They're showing us that even if we believe that that's happened, it might not necessarily have happened. And I believe them showing Tommy faking his death is just like a big red herring, them showing us, look, there might be Ghost faking his death as well. I personally believe that that's a very big clue, but please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments. I definitely want to know you guys' comments, especially on that part in particular. So hit me up in the comments and let me know what you guys think about that. Now, the last point which I want to speak about, guys, is a little bit far-fetched, but it definitely can link in, and it definitely does make a little bit more sense when you start adding everything together. But as I said, the reason why I left this point till last is because I personally don't know how I feel about this point, so I want you guys to let me know in the comments. But I do feel like out of majority of the points, this is the one that does seem a little bit too far-fetched, but we will speak about it anyway. So we did speak about it briefly in part 1, obviously Tommy's ambulance business, Tommy and Ghost ambulance business, and we spoke about the possibility of Ghost actually getting someone to bring the ambulance for him to move his body ASAP. I still believe that that was the case, and I still believe that that is a solid find. But the next part of this find is where it gets a bit iffy for me. I don't know how I feel about it, but as I said, we will speak about it here on the channel. So in the episode where Tariq goes to Ghost's grave to confess his sins, and we obviously see Sax there recording Tariq, before we actually see Sax and Tariq's actually just speaking to the grave itself, we in the background you guys can actually see an ambulance drive past. Now also in the background you can see someone walking. It's really far in the background, guys, but you can see someone walking. Now this has led to a lot of people to believe that that is Ghost watching over his son. Why is there one person walking in the background as a dark figure, and why is it straight after that we see an ambulance drive past in the background of Tariq? Is that Ghost watching over him? It could be. It honestly could be. Yes, it obviously could be a coincidence that an ambulance just drove past whilst they were filming that scene. But me personally, guys, Power is a very big show. They have a big production team, and for me, I feel like they do a lot of things on purpose. They could have easily have done that scene again when the ambulance wasn't going past, because they would have seen that when they were doing in production. They would have seen that, and they know obviously what that's going to cause from the things that they've done already. So if they didn't want that in there, they could have easily made it not in there. They wanted it in there, and it's there for a reason. And that's why I believe that that could be a clue as to why a ghost is alive. But let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. So just to recap, what we covered in today's video was obviously the fact that his casket was moving when it was getting put into the grave. We spoke about the no date on his tombstone. We spoke about the fact that they titled it Who Shot Ghost and not Who Killed Ghost. We spoke about the fact that his name is Ghost, and obviously the fact that he has probably faked his death and will come back plays perfectly into his name itself. We spoke about the fact that Tommy obviously faked his death in the last episode of Power Book 2, and that is obviously a good indication that faking their death is something that Power is willing to do. We spoke about the fact that the ambulance at the graveyard and someone was in the background as well. There's one more thing which we could speak about, which I'm not going to go into too much depth about because I don't believe that it is a thing, but a lot of people believe that Uncle Gabe, when he came to the funeral and he spoke to Tariq, the way that he was speaking to Tariq was almost a hint that he knew that Ghost was alive. I personally don't believe that theory, but it is also a good point to add. We didn't see Uncle Gabe for pretty much the whole of the Power. We only saw him literally one episode before we saw him at the funeral. So it does open for a lot of questions, but again, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. So that was part 1 and part 2 of why Ghost is alive. As I said at the beginning of part 1, I will be making a separate video on why Ghost is dead, and we're going to be speaking about all the reasons as to why he might actually be dead within Power. Now, if you guys like this video, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. I will really appreciate if you guys subscribe to the channel, as we are a new channel here. Make sure you guys subscribe for everything TV and shows related. Anyways, that's it for me. It's been your boy MVT. I'm out. Peace.